In the next couple of weeks, I'm going to feature tactical replications of football systems, historic ones ranging from Neroro Rocco's 1962 AC Milan side through to maybe Manchester City's evolving Pep Guardiola system, Jose Bordalas' Gaddafi gangster-driven tactical system. We've even got Arrigo Sacchi, Diego Simeone, and to throw someone in for good measure, Sam Allardyce. Yes, plenty of tactical systems coming your way. But why do this now? Football Manager 26 hasn't exactly gotten off to a sterling start. There are issues with the game, of that I have no doubt. I have raised many of these issues myself. But when it comes to tactics, there is a workflow that I think could help a lot of new players, and I want to share that with you guys. In fact, on today's show, I'm gonna be doing things ranging from how we create tactics, and how these roles actually work now, because the match engine is still the same from FM24. It's just a matter of translating what these roles do in terms of movement. And then, of course, there are challenges as well. I've gone to the forums, I've seen the complaints. I know that some of you are struggling with training, as in creating custom schedules, because they seem to be changing all the time. Mine don't. And I'm going to show you how I do it. It's not perfect. It's definitely not ideal. I'm hoping that SI fix this at some point. In fact, there are loads of things I hope SI fix about FM26. And along the way, we'll share some of that on the show. In fact, before we even start, why don't you share with me your funniest memes and your jokes about bugs and FM26? Share them on my Twitter timeline. The links to my socials are in the description in the video below. Let me know. Why? Because I'm not going to ask you to buy Football Manager 26 from me. I'm going to give it to you for free. So the guy who gives me the best joke, right, or the best meme, I'm going to share with you a key for Football Manager 26, because I don't think you guys should go try out the game, try out the demo first before you make a decision on buying the game. That is my best advice for this new version of Football Manager. I know I need a good laugh about FM26, so please send me those jokes. Now, it's time for us to dive into today's tactical replication. We are taking a trip to the Serie A. We are going to get familiar with Cesc Fabregas and Como 1907. He has turned things around with a side that's now playing a possession-based style football with a heavy focus on central overloads and the development of young technical talent. I couldn't have chosen something harder to do on FM26. Yeah, the developing young talent bit is going to be massively challenging. One thing I've always found to be challenging when it comes to doing replications is admitting that we can never get everything perfectly right. We have to just understand what the core principle is about the style of play that Cesc Fabregas actually deploys. Now, we can try our best to replicate it, but if we can at least get the principles right, then at least we get the flavor going. Even if some parts are not perfect. Naturally, I'm not a coach. I don't manage teams for a living. So I'm just doing this as a hobby. So let's begin. This team likes to have numbers in central midfield. They like to pack the midfield. They like to create overloads. They're also very compact when they bring the ball up and when they have to defend. So they're going to have a very narrow attacking width. They love getting their wingbacks wide, and sometimes those wingbacks will also come inside and sit narrow and do underlaps. They do both. Sometimes they overlap, sometimes they underlap. And then we've got their playmaker, Pass. Pass is key to their system. He links up play, he runs the channels, he sometimes drops deep, sometimes goes to the flanks. He creates opportunities for the rest of his teammates. Finally, this is going to be a system that we have to make sure that it transitions very quickly from defending to attack, because that's one of the hallmarks of the Como system. It's their lightning fast transitions. All this we will try to do on today's show. I always like to use images to show how teams actually play, and then that gives me a reference point when I'm trying to create my own tactics. Here, Como are defending. there's a player who's about to receive the ball on the flanks. You can clearly see two Como players trying to close him down, while the other players are basically trying to cut off some passing lanes. One of the things they tend to do build-out patterns which feature like a 3-2, but their fullbacks will be high on the side when they're building up play. Now, they tried to move the ball to the left flank, but they couldn't. But notice how their DMs are staggered. One DM is always further ahead than the other DM. So we want to try and get these kind of build-out phases in our own game as well. We can do that with a back four. I don't want to use a back three to do this because you can get this done with a back four, because you have to remember those wing backs are going to give us some width and they're going to be high up the pitch when we're attacking. Here, once again, we've got the two central defenders with one of their fullbacks sitting quite narrow. The two central midfielders are in the center of the. So here again, we have another setup, build-out play. Typically, this is what they look like. When they've got two central defenders, one of the fullbacks will be sitting, forming a three, and then they've got another fullback giving them a lot more width. If Como play a high block, they don't press for the sake of pressing. They actually close down the passing lanes. This is a very, very good example of how they're doing this. You can clearly see they're giving the ball carrier from the opposition a dilemma on who to play the pass to. Como will always play with numbers, right? They like the extra man. Here, they have got a wing back underlapping. They're creating an overload on the right side of the pitch. You can clearly see the space on the other side. Whenever they play against better opposition, they clearly go strikerless, as you can see from this image over here. There are plenty of football matters on Football Manager 26. There are more of these than on any other version of Football Manager. And I'm going to share with you all of them on today's show. One of these is about creating flank overloads. Now, on Football Manager 26, it's relatively easy to create flank overloads. It was easy on FM24. It certainly is easy on FM26. And this means that we will be able to do exactly this in the game. Draw the opposition to one side, creating a 2v1 opportunity on the other. In nearly every image I see of Como playing, they've got a wingback coming inside. So this is going to be a common pattern of play. Whenever they go down one side, you can see the wingback here is already come inside, and then we've got another wingback coming inside. It certainly is a pattern of play with this team. The wingbacks will underlap sometimes, and they will overlap at other times. This can be done on Football Manager 26 quite easily. So I've introduced you to the tactical system that Como uses. Now, let's dive into the safe. So I've introduced you to the tactical system that Como is using. It's now time for us to dive into the safe from the very beginning. So here we are with Como. I feel sorry for Cesc Fabregas. We kind of kick him out of the club. Our goal is to sign high reputation players, play entertaining football, sign players under the age of 23 for the first team. Let's meet the squad. Of course, I have no idea why this is the way it is in Football Manager. Why can't we just do full screen for this? I mean, the very fact I've got to scroll down is pretty annoying. So this is their starting goalkeeper. He doesn't give me a lot of faith. Yeah, he's not bad, but I mean, he's not going to be great in the air. His aerial reach is not very good. His handling is pretty solid. He's got some vision, so we can play the ball on the ground with him, even though his first touch isn't fantastic. We'll be careful. We'll have to play it by ear. We're not going to be playing our defense all the time because I need to observe him over the next couple of games. So the first thing we're going to do, we're going to set up responsibilities in the club. So we're going to go shift 9. We're going to go to responsibilities. We're going to delegate as much as we can to the staff. Here again, and confirm this. As far as the media is concerned, we're never spending a day talking to them. Training and responsibility, we'll get to this really soon. Tactics, we're going to leave this alone. Match day, we're going to leave this another time for us to do set pieces. We're going to just confirm this. Opens up this page. Now, at the moment, what we're going to do is really simple. I'm just going to put a placeholder here for a tactic. We're just going to clean slate. In FM26, you can import your set piece routines from FM24. We've done that already. So we've got a short routine and we've got a near post routine. We'll just set a priority. I prefer short corners more than near post routine, so we'll just do this. Why you can, my goodness. Talk about confusing. Yes, we found another bug. All right, now we done set piece routines. Now we go to opposition instructions. Because we're playing a very aggressive system, we're going to set it all up. So all the opposition instructions will be trigger press to the back line. That's how they play. They put a lot of pressure on teams. If I decide to go into strikeless or mid block, it probably won't affect us that much. So shift, and then we can do this shift all. Then we are gonna type mark any DM, right? Because we are planning to do something like that, right? So we're gonna type mark them, make sure that the passing lanes to these players are always shut down. That's it. Now, if you're wondering why my colors are different, now if you go into the game, what you can do is you can set up your preferences and you can set up for color blindness. Yeah, I'm not colorblind, but it's easier for me to see the colors. You can use this, especially for older players. I like Tritanopia, so it actually makes a big difference. Now, if I turn this off, okay, and I go here, you can see the colors changing in the background. There's a lot of white, so this makes it easier for me to read the text. So that's done. So this is easy. I like it. Now, the other thing that we have yet to do, and we are going to do it now, is detail level. Now, we want to be able to see all the results, right? So it's something that we want to do. So we got all these leagues loaded. Now, it's a good chance for you to see what leagues I have. So in continental competitions, we just leave it on. We can come here, mix. This is fine. The youth league, we want all. So I want to develop the youth players, right? Or at least that's what I'm hoping to do. Yeah, I'm not going to go into detail about that. Too much detail about that. You'll discover what I'm going to talk about later. Then we've got main stages here. Okay, for Belgium and the main stages here. We just do main stages for everyone. This way I can, I hope to be able to scout these players and bring them into our club. Okay, now we go to training. Okay, if we pop into training, we'll see this. So we're going to do training intensity first. We'll set it to double intensity. Okay, so what I normally do with my schedules is I come in here, I create a new schedule. So let's create a new schedule. So why bother with training? The training module in FM26, at least for now in the beta, is not ideal. It's a pain in the butt. So why bother? Training still helps us distribute attributes. And my save requires me to develop young talent. So when we go to the training schedules, you'll find it's quite difficult to create training schedules here. So my advice is you can't do custom here, right? I would advise you to go preseason early and pick heavy here for the first 2 weeks. At least you get them, give them some boot room training. The default ones are not bad. Now, if you come into this, you're looking for the word custom to show up. So wherever custom doesn't show up, you can just use a preseason, mid, get into be heavy, done. Next, the season is about to start. So wing play. Hallelujah, we got custom schedules now. Click on this, all your schedules pop up. So all you got to do is pick the one that you need. You're going to go balance Sunday, confirm, balance Sunday shows up. Go to the next day, custom schedules, balance Sunday game shows up. Now you can see we can add our custom schedules because it pops up. These are the quirk of the game, I guess. There's a bug that I'm sure SI is going to address. Now to do training intensity for my players, so what we can do is go to squad, go to overview. Right, this is the page you have to come to. There's no other place to find training intensity. So you see these 3 buttons here? This is the first team. This is the second team. This is the third team. So if I go to the first team, hit training intensity, I say to double. Go to the second team, click on this. Training intensity, this is the under 21s, double. Then, then go to the third button, click on this, training intensity, double. So how about adding players to the first team for training? So plenty of teams do that in the real world, right? So we're just going to try one. Unfortunately, it's bugged. Yes, you can't do it at the moment in the game. Now, this Como system, we're probably going to be tweaking it along the way. We need to understand what these roles do. If we want to create a high pressing tactical system, we need to understand which of these DMs is going to be pressing relatively high. In the defensive midfielder tier, where we're going to start, the most aggressive role in terms of pressing is probably going to be the pressing defensive midfielder. He is the one that presses the highest. And then we have the defensive midfielder. He's the one in the middle. He doesn't He is great as a double pivot. And then, of course, you've got a dropping defensive midfielder. He literally anchors himself to the defenders. Now, he is not a good role if I were to choose a tactic that is a high pressing system. I will never use him. I will probably gravitate towards a defensive midfielder, a pressing defensive midfielder, or even a screening defensive midfielder. But because I want a double pivot, I want them to move up together. I don't want a role that holds position and plays too cautiously. In Football Manager, once you understand what these roles are doing out of possession, half the battle is won. Wide midfielder is somewhere in the middle. So he's going to do a bit of both. He's going to attack and he's going to defend. Now, your tracking wide midfielder, all he does is he drops back. So he's going to be really deep. We want to press high, so we don't want to use this role. The wide outlet wide midfielder is fantastic in low blocks because this guy is focused singularly on breaking away. So if you're creating a tactic where you want to have a wide outlet on the flanks to work with a center forward in front and you want to swing the ball to him and then you want him to get away and get behind the defense, drop in across, he's got great dribbling. This is a really good role in that kind of a setup. Next, we're going to look at the fullbacks. We're going to use two orthodox fullbacks. We're going to use fullbacks we've been told to sit narrow, cut inside. Yeah, you can set them up here. If you set PIs on out of possession, the same PIs apply in possession as well. So if you come here, we're going to be using him as an inside fullback here. The PIs are sticking. Now, why am I using an inside fullback? I'm assuming I'm playing against tough teams. In a lot of games, I'm going to change this role. I might play him as a fullback. I might play him as a wingback. If I think I'm playing as a 5-2-2-1, then this role immediately becomes a wingback and he's going to attack the lines. And we might tell this player to sit narrow when that happens. So I might go to player instructions and tell him to sit narrow. And the meta in Football Manager is to tell your players, especially the wingers and the inside forwards, to make more forward runs. So one of the metas in Football Manager, and I strongly recommend that you add this to your tactics, if you got inside forwards or got wingers and you want to attack the lines, one of the things I tend to do right now is I add dribble more to all these roles. So I want them to attack, and dribble more is absolutely massacring some teams. At the back here, we've got this role here. We're going to go to the player's instructions. I'm also asking him to make more forward runs. This means that his starting position is going to be higher. He's going to be sitting narrow. He's going to cut inside with the ball and have a higher starting position. Now, this is important for me because I am going to change his role during a game. Now, when you change his role during a game, those instructions also stick. Now, in some games, you're going to use him as a wing back. So he's going to come up and fly past this inside forward who is going to be sitting narrow. And so you can see his play instructions still stick. So this allows me to look at a match. If I'm playing as a 5-2-2-1 and I'll put a lot of pressure on this team, he does exactly that. The other thing we want to do is we also want to make sure that he can cut me inside with the ball because they tend to underlap as well. And our team instructions have got those underlaps. So if you come in here and look at supporting runs, if you click on this and go to supporting runs, you'll notice you got balance, overlap, and underlap on both flanks. This is something that we're going to be doing. The other thing I want to do is pass reception. We want to pass into space. We're encouraging our players to attack defensive lines. Of course, you can come in here as well and you can change it over here. This is one of the other places you can change your instructions. If you want to not use these little tiles, which I strongly recommend, some of you don't because they can be quite annoying. Tempo, I'm going to keep it on a higher. And then our attacking width is going to be narrow. Our attacking transitions are going to be counter-attack. Creative freedom is going to be balanced. Time wasting is less often. Play for set pieces will keep the ball in play. Patience, this basically is about working the ball into the box. I'm just going to leave this on mixed yet right now, but it depends on the match I'm playing. If I'm playing against a team that's sitting back, we'll work the ball into the box. Shots from distance, we're going to discourage. This is really important. There's a lot of long shots in the game. What you can also do, which is what I strongly recommend, is go to your play instructions. Where we see shooting, tell him to shoot less often. I know it's counterintuitive, but that's what we plan to do. We're shooting less often with a lot of these players because they're going to come in and they're going to shoot all day long. Now, this in midfield, when we have the ball, I'm going to be playing with two box-to-box midfielders. Now, these players, when they go up, they're going to bring the whole attack up the pitch. We got a channel midfielder who's going to move left and right. We got an inverted inside fullback here. We got a center back and a ball playing center back here. Up top, we're going to use the channel forward, center forward, because he is going to be trying to break through and score goals. I don't want any player to drop too deep. So, and then here we got a channel midfielder. Once again, he also is told to shoot less often. Yeah, shoot less often. I would liberally apply it to the whole team. So we've done this. We set up our tactics. So they're going to be playing a 4-2-1-3, like a 4-2. Basically, it's a 4-2-2-2, and then in possession it'll be like a 4-2-3-1. And then we're going to have our second tactic here, which is a strikeless version. So when we have the ball, we're going to be playing like this again. Of course, we're going to check all these instructions to make sure that they are also shooting less often. As you can see here, we've got balance with both flanks. We're going to tell our players to pass into space. I think this visualizer is just a decent guide. If I want to change for some matches, I'll probably turn this guy into a wing back. We'll try that in preseason. And then over here, we're going to use a wing back, and then he's going to bomb down the pitch. And this is our tactic that we're going to be using with Como. One of the metas currently in the world of football is controlling 5 channels when you're attacking. So basically, you are giving teams a defensive dilemma because most teams defend with 4. And if you can put 5 there, then you're creating an issue. This allows you to create overloads. It's something that we absolutely need to do in our tactical system as well. Our first preseason game wasn't bad. Now check out how we get our first goal. You see the ball is being played out to our wingback. Our wingback will start his legendary dribble. Dribble more is definitely a meta on Football Manager. He just dribbled past the entire team. I mean, either that or defending is terrible on Football Manager. Take your pick. One of them is definitely working and one isn't. So we've got Cunha. There's a central attacking pattern where we create a numerical overload in the middle. And then they did score 1 goal. I think we need to tweak it slightly. Bad defending works both ways. Here again, moving through the middle. This is a channel midfielder. He's working the channels, which is exactly what we want him to do. He's gone wide, and this creates space for other roles in the middle. The numerical overload in the center is creating problems for teams. Here, I think here we conceded a goal from a scorcher. And then you can see this loose 3-2 at the moment. When we go down the left, then, this guy will stay a bit back. But we're using this as an inside fullback, so he's not going to run too far forward. What these roles will end up doing is they feed the players that are. So he's played the ball to Baturina, and then we've got our 2 midfielders coming in. We've got all 4 here. They come in, he squares the ball, we score the 4th. So tactically, I'm pretty happy with where we are. Now, this is just the first episode. We're going to continue our Como adventure and see if we need to tweak the system along the way. And it's probably going to take me a while, but we want to get the tactical system to where we think it's a close replication to the actual system. So along the way, I want to look at data. Now, if some of you are familiar with my streams, you know how annoyed I am with data in the game of Football Manager 26. The data hub hopefully gets addressed, and UPDA, which is a new term on Football Manager. Have you heard of this term called UPDA? Go to match stats, look at advanced stats. Yeah, you got UPDA. I don't know what UPDA is. It's OPPDA. Opposition passes per defensive action. Now, the data seems to suggest that both these teams have allowed the opposition. We've allowed the opposition 19 passes, which is a bit strange because I'm playing with a very high defensive line. And the opposition have allowed me 32 passes on average. I've seen 60. So that's a bit of a strange anomaly because it does seem to suggest that teams are not defending on Football Manager 26. If I were to look at these numbers alone and I wasn't watching the game, it will appear that no one is defending. I hope as I address this, at least before November comes around the corner, and they look at this and go like, oh guys, we kind of need to look at these numbers because these are central to understanding how high a team is pressing. I will be back with episode 2, where we take Como through a few more games, and then this is preseason, so it's just warming up. But the real work will start when the season begins. And that's when we're going to look at the match. And I'm going to show you what we do tactically against some teams. We're going to maybe tweak the tactic along the way and then see how close this is as a replication to the actual system that Como are using in real life in the Serie A. The goal is to get the numerical superiority in the center, central attacking patterns, quick transitions, having the wingbacks high up the pitch to attack the flanks. We want our Nico pass to be working the channels and creating goal-scoring opportunities. So these are all important things that we have to target. Along the way, I'm hoping that we also have a high number of tackles against teams that are dribbling. I don't think that's going to happen because there are some metas in Football Manager at the moment. The first meta on Football Manager is dribble more. So if you have a team that's got decent dribblers, you definitely want to turn it on for every one of them, especially if they're using roles like the winger, the fullback, the wingback, inside forward. You want them dribbling because the defenders just don't seem to be handling it very well. The other meta in Football Manager currently is the split block. Now, I was using the split block in FM17 and introduced you guys to it. But right now, the split block is extremely strong. What you want to be doing is, if you have a top-heavy system, you want to put a lot of pressure on defenders. And I've seen my defenders take the ball off the goalkeeper. So what you want to be doing is you want to tell your attacking group of players, any winger, any striker, any AM, you want them to tackle hard, mark tighter. You want them to go in hard on the opposition. Now, I wouldn't tell my team to tackle hard as a team instruction on everyone, but I certainly would tell my attacking group of players to do that. You want to increase the amount of pressure on the backline. So that's pretty easy. You can also do it from opposition instructions, which I strongly recommend. So tight mark the entire backline and then hard tackle the defenders and the goalkeeper. Don't leave the goalkeeper alone. Make sure that he has a hard time. So these are the main metas in the game Football Manager. Naturally, there are other metas as well. You've got your jumping reach, acceleration, work rate, stamina. So any team that has got these attributes is going to, do well. Then finally, the golden child, jumping reach. If you've got tall players in your team, they still rock a punch. They are going to knock teams out with their near post corner routines. Because near post, you can actually import your corner routines from FM24 into the game right now. So, can we get Como looking like they do in real life? I think we can, but we'll find out more in the next episode. I know today's episode was long. I hope you enjoyed it. And don't forget, don't buy Football Manager 26. I'm going to give it to you for free. Right here. I've got a key that I will share with you. All I need from you is a funny meme or a joke about bugs and Football Manager 26. Send it to me on my Twitter. Let me know what you think of this show. I know it's a really long show. I hope some of you found it enjoyable. I want to come back to doing some long form content, and I think tactics are the way to go. So you guys stay safe, take care of yourselves. I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.